Most of my interactions with women have been long term. Like usually, I'm more of like a boyfriend type of guy. So I get in a relationship, stay there for a while,
Yeah.
and I feel like getting into the space with picking up women or trying to get better with women. I feel like they always talk about getting the woman, but then once you have the woman secured, what are the qualities for the long term play? And I never really thought too much about them, but I was having a conversation with Luke the other day, and we were talking about it. And I kind of summed it down to three qualities. I want to see if you would agree with these three qualities being the most major qualities to keep a woman long term. First, I said was your charisma, right? Second, I said was your romance, and then the third was humor. So I said those three keep her long term. Attracting her off the bat, I would say completely different, but keeping her long term is what I really felt like was the three biggest qualities that a guy could have. What would you say?
Yeah, those are good attraction qualities that you should maintain in a relationship. But the most important thing is that you maintain masculine boundaries. That is the most important thing. Nothing else even comes close to that. Sadia Khan said it best. All women are attracted to a man they cannot manipulate. You not being manipulated into staying home and watching Netflix with her instead of going to the gym. And here's probably the best thing long term to do. She needs to consistently see that you're capable of being attractive to other women. She needs to at least once a month see that you are attractive to other women. If you do so, I believe you don't even have to be charismatic or funny. I think if you just do that, you'd be shocked at how women will stay with a guy like that.
Mm. See, I guess my counter to that would be, and this is what I said on one of my earlier episodes was, so a woman, she's with the guy, right? So okay, you have your accolades, you have your credentials, and in the beginning when someone first meets that, it's very crazy, right? A woman sees that, they're like, oh my god, he's all these things. I gotta wipe this guy up. I gotta cuff this guy up, right? He's got to be my future husband. But my thing was, in my analogy I used was, when you first hang out with a guy that's very tall, after a year they don't really seem that tall, right? So I talked about the guys that have, 6 figures, they're 6 feet, right, about 6 inches, shit like that. In the beginning, for the women, it's like this crazy thing, right? He's the man, he's the man. But eventually, after a period of time, I feel like that stabilizes, and even the woman forgets.
Yeah, you're correct about the forgetting part. 80%, 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Women in general are the ones who are breaking up with men, not the other way around. And most women find most men unattractive. About 80% of men on dating apps are deemed to be unattractive. So when you come to that realization, you need to understand that her hypergamy algorithm is constantly looking for a better deal. It's kind of like when a girl breaks up with you, she is looking to level up. I don't care what she says when she goes, it's not me, it's not you, it's me, whatever, blah, 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 whatever the fuck she says. She's looking to level up. That's why she's breaking up with you. When she breaks up with you, the reason why I said what I said was, in order to counter that, you need to always be the bigger, better deal. In order to do so, you have to show your masculine frame, and women have to consistently see that other women find you attractive. Because when they do, like for instance, let's just say you have a Tesla and you want to switch over to a Mercedes, and then you go look at all these people you respect, and then they all just bought Teslas, you're more likely to keep your Tesla down because it's reconfirmation. You have a man and you're like, oh, I'm not really sure. We've been together for a while. Women in general leave relationships. If you don't believe me, lesbian couples divorce at twice the rate that gay couples divorce at. When women don't have men to blame, they still get divorced more. So women in general are always looking to level up and then eventually leave the relationship if they're not receiving their validation. And the way they check and they look at the rest of the world, how is the rest of the world viewing my man? If they see that the rest of the world views your man as high status, I think that's more likely to keep her from breaking up than anything else.
Well, I guess, where would you rank humor then?
Humor is important, but humor is an attraction trigger that you build up to a certain status, and then you're sleeping with her on a regular basis. So there's comfort that comes from sexual intercourse. You have to be having sex with her on a regular basis. By the way, any guys who are listening to this, if you're not having sex with a girl on a regular basis, that's not your girlfriend. I don't care if she lives in Florida, you live in New York, and you guys made all these promises to each other. If you aren't having sex with her on a regular basis, that is not your girlfriend. So that's one thing. It's like sexual intercourse. And then there's the attraction triggers, and they can come from charisma, humor. They can come from networking, social alignments, pre-selection, physique, looks, height, all that kind of stuff. Those are the different attraction triggers. And then you need comfort that's built in. So she has to feel like you're attainable, and that at some point you'd be willing to give her provisioning so that she would take care of you and your child. But you don't want to give so much comfort. Like I just had a guy on before this, and one of the questions he asked, and I thought that was a great question. He said that when men are more willing to be loyal that makes them actually less attractive to women? And the answer is yeah, it kind of does. Like, it's so funny. Men are attracted to women because they're hot, and women are attracted to men because they have high status. Men look for loyalty in a woman they want to marry, but women just really want a high status man. Again, that's the Russian oligarch and the fucking movie star and whatever. Like, women will look for that thing. So when you consider who are women chasing? When they're chasing Drake, are they chasing Drake because he's charismatic and funny? No, they're chasing him because other women are chasing him. He has incredibly high status and high resources. I've just found that those are the relationships that I see the last the longest. But here's another thing. Are you a partnership? Like, for instance, Layla and Alex Hormozy. Are you guys completely pulling in the same direction? I think, because I don't particularly see either of them as like exceedingly funny. I don't think Alex is super funny. He doesn't use a ton of humor to keep Layla. What does he do though? The two of them are like on a fucking hyper focused mission in order to succeed. I think that's more important.
Okay, I get that. I can understand that.
Yeah.
You got that?
Yeah. So I know Wes Watson, one of your buddies, talks about he bought his first expensive car when he had like 200 mil in the bank or whatever.
No.
What?
When he didn't buy his first car until he had 400K in the bank.
Right.
And Justin Waller didn't buy his. Justin Waller didn't even want to talk, get into self-help, or teach anything until he had a liquid million in the bank.
Right. So they both had milestones for what they got their first like big purchase on.
Yeah.
You're pretty well off right now. You live in Vegas. You have MOA going on for you. What's the next number in your bank? That's the next milestone for you, and what are you gonna get for yourself once you hit that milestone?
Yeah, so I'm not going to express the milestone. It's an S model. It's a Tesla Model S. That's probably the first thing I'm going to get. And the only reason why I know a lot of people make fun of the Tesla or whatever, I drive back and forth to LA. If you guys understand, if you live in Las Vegas, flying to Los Angeles is pointless. As soon as you fly there, it's an hour drive to wherever you're going to go, and you're stuck in traffic. So it's always better to just drive to LA. So I wanted to get a Tesla so that I could just drive back and forth. And while I'm doing so, get work done. So that's probably going to be the next thing. I don't spend money on shit. I still drive a 10-year-old Lexus right now with 100,000 miles on it. I just, I'm on a used MacBook right now talking to you. I just don't really, material possessions. It's one of the things I teach in MOA is that we are not materialistic, and we don't spend money in order to attract women. We use our ability to network, show access to resources, scarce resources, relevancy, competency, charisma, humor, social alignments, pre-selection, etc. We use those attraction triggers instead in order to get girls. So this really isn't a big thing that I would buy. I'd probably put a down payment on a house next. That's probably the next thing.
Makes sense. Got it. You're good friends with Rollo now. He went from being like one of your favorite authors to like one of your best friends. He has his own talk show. You have your own talk show. Now you guys do one together called Access Vegas. How would you say your relationship with Rollo has impacted the way that you do podcasts?
Well, Rollo's kind of taught me a lot of stuff. Like Rollo, he kind of reinforced that I need to do a ton of research before I interview someone. That's why I was doing it before, but it was like Rollo and PBD that kind of reinforced that to me. Rollo makes these 10-minute clips on his clips channel, and it was growing faster than his regular channel. So we started doing clips. As far as the rest of the stuff with the podcasting, I got into live streaming because of Rollo. I started doing the Monday live streams because Rollo does a Sunday live stream. What else? The setup, the 2-camera setup, I think is probably the next thing I'm going to adopt. I think his setup looks better than mine. What else? I don't know. Rollo, however, is making a coaching course because he's seen how mine is done. So that's a cool thing. I don't know. Those are kind of the main things. It's also Rollo. The girls love Rollo whenever we do the show, which is helpful. If Rollo was an ass, it's hard if they don't love Rollo, but they all do. I hear people say Rollo's a weirdo, and I was like, no, he's not. Rollo, I guarantee you, if Rollo were single, he would be crushing. I know one girl who is so fucking fine that follows Rollo around all the fucking time right now, and I guarantee she has the biggest crush on him. But he's not gonna do anything because he's been married for 30 years. So, yeah, I've learned a lot of stuff with Rollo. Also, I ask him questions about how he's able to maintain a relationship for 30 years. That's really amazing to me. His daughter got married to someone he approves of. Man, those sound like life goals to me.
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds
hard.
incredible. Yeah.
No, for sure. I guess let me ask you this: what made you start your podcast?
There was a girl that I was seeing in the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, and around May we broke up, and I was cool with us breaking up. And once we broke up, she started seeing another dude in another city. Well, the guy she was seeing cheated on her with one of my friends. That girl comes back to me and tells me And I ended up telling one of her best friends. So she's furious of the fact that like we broke up, and then she picks another dude, and then another dude just like cheats on her and just fucking humiliates her. And so she decides to go to the sponsor of one of my events and start lying to him, saying that I said things about him that I never said. And I end up losing a job because of her. And I remember just like there was nothing I could do to her. I'm not going to do anything to her. She's a girl, like whatever. She's got her own mental illness. She's got to deal with that on her own. But I just remember thinking, I'm never going to let anyone lie about me anymore. And I remember that whole situation where Joe Rogan, he had used there was that clip. There's a compilation of him using the N-word on his show, but he's quoting Paul Mooney, the comedian. Paul Mooney's hilarious. If you understand in context, he's quoting Paul Mooney. Out of context, he looked like a racist. But because Joe Rogan did a 3-hour podcast every day, you can't really take him out of context. If you listen to Joe Rogan's entire show, he's a very well thought out, intelligent guy. If you listen to Joe Rogan clips, he sometimes can come off where he's making a joke and you think he's being serious, and you may misunderstand the context of what he's doing. By the way, same thing happens to me frequently now. And so because I realized that using long form content, nobody could ever really lie about me anymore. That's why I started doing it initially. And that was the original reason. It had nothing to do with MOA. That was the reason why I did it. I'd always wanted to do it. And then there was a studio that just really they were just taking off. And they begged me to come in there to do it. Begged me. They asked me very, very strenuously to come in there and to do my own podcast. So I started doing it. And I think probably after the second week, I was the biggest podcast at the studio. And since then it's been pretty great.